Dear students, welcome to MNR's digital classes. The topic of today's lecture is Maxwell's equations. The content of this topic are extracted from Electromagnetic Theory and Electrodynamics by Satya Prakash. You can also refer the other books for this content. Some of them are Basudev Ghosh or D.C. Tayal or K.K. Tiwari. Any one of these books will survive the purpose. James Clerk Maxwell, 1831 to 1879, a Scottish physicist, well known for his equations known as Maxwell's equation. He made major contributions to the field of electromagnetism, developed electromagnetic theory. Without this theory, this lecture could not have been possible. In addition to electromagnetic theory, Maxwell made the contributions to other branches of physics also. Some of them include the development of kinetic theory of gases, then development of statistical mechanics. The contribution to statistical mechanics is he formulated the classical statistics known as Maxwell-Boltzmann statistics. He is also responsible for explanation of the rings of Saturn. His major work, that is the work on electromagnetism, were found in the paper Dynamical Theory of Electromagnetic Field, presented to the Royal Society of London in 1864. This paper was reviewed by Lord Kelvin, another famous physicist, and it was published in the following year. In 1873, his works are published in 2 volumes with the title A Treatise on Electricity and Magnetism. The original manuscript explaining the electromagnetic theory is shown in this figure. This is the first page of the manuscript. This manuscript has totally 83 pages, and the link for getting this manuscript, original manuscript, is given here. In the end of 18th century and beginning of 19th century, a lot of fundamental theories were formulated to understand the effects of electric charges and electric currents, electrical effects and magnetic effects of electric charges and currents. Some important laws include Coulomb's law, Gauss law, Ohm's law, Biot-Savart law, Ampere's law, then the Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. These laws were formulated to understand the behavior. In 1845, Michael Faraday conducted a seminar where he speculated that magnetic field can produce a measurable effect on a beam of light. Maxwell attended this seminar, got inspired by the explanation of Michael Faraday, started investigating on the fundamental causes of electric and magnetic fields on the beam of light. In 1861, he found there is a flaw in one of the fundamental laws of electric and magnetic fields, and he rectified that flaw by introducing the concept of displacement current, and finally he came out with 4 equations, and he said these 4 equations are enough to understand the complete behavior of electric and magnetic fields. And these 4 equations are called as Maxwell's equations. So Maxwell's equations are the mathematical distillation of existing experimental laws on electric and magnetic effects of charges and currents. And his contribution is he unified all those laws with the rectification to Ampere's law, and he gave a set of 4 differential equations, a symmetric covariant set of 4 differential equations. These four differential equations, when combined with Lorentz-Force equation and equation of continuity, form the theoretical basis for describing the world of classical electromagnetics, which includes classical electrodynamics, electric circuits, classical optics, modern communication, and electrical technologies. Now, let us briefly explain what are Maxwell's equations. A symmetric set of symmetric coherent set of four differential equations consistent with the equation of continuity, which form the theoretical basis for describing the world of classical electromagnetics, are called as Maxwell's equation. Now let us explore the four fundamental laws which forms the empirical basis of the Maxwell's equations. The first law, Gauss law for electrostatics. We know that Gauss law in electrostatics states that the electric flux out of any closed surface is proportional to the total charge enclosed within the surface. The total normal flux emerging out of a surface is proportional to the charge enclosed within the surface. Mathematically, we can write in integral form as surface integral of d bar dot ds bar is equal to q, where d bar is the electric displacement vector. From this, it is clear that a charge will radiate a measurable field of influence around it. Wherever there is charge, there is an electric field. So what we can say is Gauss law says that wherever there is a charge, there is an electric field. Or in other words, where there is a charge, electric field, there is a charge. So whenever we find an electric field, it is not necessary to ask that is there any charge. It will be there. Whenever there is a charge, there will be electric field. The electric flux or the field lines for a charge will be diverging for a positive charge, converging for a negative charge. The second fundamental law is the Gauss law for magnetism. This Gauss law for magnetism is similar to a Gauss law in electrostatics. The net magnetic flux out of any closed surface is zero. Since the magnetic field lines are always forms closed loops, so we say that the net magnetic flux out of any closed surface is equal to zero. So the surface integral of b bar dot da bar is equal to mu naught times the magnetic charge, that is actually we say magnetic poles, that is equal to zero. This equation clearly indicates that magnetic charge or magnetic monopoles does not exist in nature. The magnetic sources are dipole sources and the magnetic field lines are loops. We cannot isolate north or south monopoles, unlike the electric charge, so point charges, protons, electrons. We can have isolated electric charges, that is positive charge, proton, negative charge, electron. Similarly, we cannot have an isolated magnetic monopole, that is north pole, south pole separately. If you take a magnet, one end behaves like north pole, other end behaves like south pole. If you cut into two parts, then each part again behaves like north pole and south pole. If you go on further cut it into two parts, again north pole, south pole. So it is never possible to isolate a magnetic monopole. Therefore, always magnetic field lines forms a closed loop, and hence the magnetic flux out of any closed surface is equal to zero. The figure shows the magnetic field lines. Now let us compare the field lines with electric and magnetism. Electric field lines have the source and sinks. It always originates from a positive charge, terminates at the negative charge. Whereas magnetic field lines are always forms in the form of closed loops. Therefore, electric field is called as open field, whereas the magnetic field is always called as a closed field. The third fundamental law is Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. Faraday demonstrated that the curl of the electric field is equal to the negative rate of change of the magnetic flux through an area enclosed by the loop. Whenever there is change in flux linked with a closed loop, then that will lead to an electric field in such a way that the curl of the electric field is equal to negative rate of change in magnetic flux passing through that area enclosed by the loop. In the integral form, Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction can be expressed as the closed integral of E bar dot ds bar is equal to minus dou dv by dt. Now, in the region where the magnetic field becomes, the curl of the electric field is positive and vice versa. The negative sign indicates that in the region of weaker magnetic field, the curl of the electric field is positive. Hence, we can conclude that a changing magnetic field affects the curl of the electric field. This forms the basis of electrical generators. Moving magnet induces the current in the conducting loop. The next one is Ampere's law. The curl of the magnetic field is proportional to electric current flowing through the loop. Mathematically, we can express Ampere's law in integral form as line integral of b bar dot ds dl bar is equal to mu naught times the current enclosed I, which is equal to mu naught IC, where IC is the current enclosed by the surface. This equation given by Ampere holds good only for steady currents. In 1961, Maxwell, with the help of his simple experiment using capacitor, found that this law is incomplete. The term on the right side is not complete. It is valid only for the steady current. When we come across the time varying fields, the law needs a modification. The modified form of Maxwell is given in the equation. The closed integral of v bar dot dl bar is equal to mu naught times I plus mu naught epsilon naught times d phi by dt. This second term is the contribution of time varying field and it is called as displacement current. The first term is due to the contribution of conduction currents. The second term is due to the contribution of time varying fields and it's called as displacement current. Now let us summarize all the four equations. Maxwell's equations are a symmetric coherent set of four differential equations, two divergence equations for steady fields, two curl equations for time varying fields. Now let us put all the information in the form of table. First column shows the type of field, the law, fundamental law, equation in differential form, equation in integral form, the pictorial representation and physical interpretation of the laws. The first Maxwell's equation is for the steady fields and the fundamental law related with first Maxwell's equation is Gauss law in electrostatics, which is the original form in vector form formulated by Coulomb's law, called as Coulomb's law and formulated in 1875. The differential form of this law is, this equation is del bar dot d bar is equal to rho. And in integral form, the surface integral of d bar dot ds bar is equal to q. Since the electric fields, the field lines due to electric field are in the for diverging from a positive charge and converging for at a negative charge. These field lines are open type of field. This first equation signifies that a stationary electric charge is a source of electric field. The second steady state equation is due to the fundamental law, Gauss law in magnetostatics, which was formulated in 1813. The differential form of this equation is del bar dot d bar is equal to 0. That is, the divergence of the magnetic field is equal to 0. In integral form, we can express this as the surface integral of b bar dot ds bar is equal to 0. The field lines are always in the form of closed loops without any sources and sinks. This second Maxwell's equation signifies that isolated magnetic charges, that is monopoles, does not exist in nature. The third Maxwell's equation is due to the time varying field, and the fundamental law associated with the third equation is Faraday's law, which was formulated in 1831 by Michael Faraday. In differential form, this equation is expressed as del cross E, that is the curl of the electric field is equal to minus dou B by dou T. There's a typing error. In integral form, the line integral of E bar dot dl bar is equal to minus d phi by dt. This third equation signifies that the time varying magnetic field is a source of electric field. The fourth Maxwell's equation is the modified form of Ampere law, and it is called as Ampere-Maxwell law, formulated in 1865 by Maxwell. This modified form is expressed in differential form as del cross H, that is the curl of the magnetic field, is equal to J bar plus dou D by dou T. In integral form, the line integral of H bar dot dl bar is equal to I plus dou D by dou T. The picture representations for a straight current, the magnetic field lines are in the form of circular loops. Similarly, for a circular loop, the magnetic field either emerges out of the circular loop normally or converges into the loop. This fourth equation signifies that a time varying electric field is a source of magnetic field. Now let's observe the symmetry in the equations. The first two laws are for static field, and they represent the source of electric field. The next two equations are for time varying fields. One important thing to be remembered is these four Maxwell's equations are not at all independent. The two divergence equations can be derived from the two curl equations, making the use of equation of continuity. Now let us express the Maxwell's field equations in different cases. The basic equations of Maxwell are expressed here. The divergence of d bar is equal to rho, first equation. Second one is divergence of b bar is equal to 0. Third equation is curl of the electric field is equal to minus dou b by dou t. Again, the typing mistake. The curl of the magnetic field H bar is equal to J bar plus dou D by dou T. Now, the Maxwell's equations for free space. We know that for free space, the charge density rho is equal to 0. The conductivity sigma is equal to 0. Therefore, the current density J is equal to sigma E is equal to 0. Therefore, dielectric displacement vector D is equal to epsilon naught times E. Magnetic induction B is equal to mu naught times H. So, in these basic equations, if we substitute these conditions, we get the first equation. divergence of d bar is equal to divergence epsilon naught times divergence of E bar is equal to 0 because the charge density is 0. So we can write the first equation as del bar dot E bar is equal to 0. The second equation del bar dot P bar is equal to 0. That reduces to del bar dot H bar is equal to 0. The third equation del bar cross E bar is equal to minus, in place of B substitute mu naught H, we get mu naught times dou H by H bar by dou T. The fourth equation is del cross H bar is equal to J is 0. So first term eliminates. In place of D substitute epsilon naught E, we get epsilon naught times dou E by dou T. These are the four equations of Maxwell applicable for free space. Now, let us write the Maxwell's equations for an isotropic conducting medium. For an isotropic conducting medium, charge density rho is equal to 0, current density J is equal to sigma E, the electric displacement vector D is equal to epsilon times E, B is equal to magnetic induction B is equal to mu times H. So the first Maxwell's equation reduces to del bar dot E bar is equal to 0 because the charge density rho is equal to 0. The second equation is del bar dot H bar is equal to 0. The third equation is del bar cross E bar is equal to minus mu times dou H by dou T. The fourth equation is del cross H is equal to, in place of J, substitute sigma E, where sigma is the electrical conductivity, sigma E plus epsilon times dou E by dou T. These forms the set of Maxwell's equations applicable for an isotropic conducting medium. Now, the next set of equations is for isotropic dielectric medium. For a dielectric medium, charge density rho is equal to 0, conductivity sigma is equal to 0, therefore J is equal to 0. D is equal to epsilon E and B is equal to mu H. Now substituting these conditions in the basic equations of Maxwell, we get del dot E is equal to 0, del dot H is equal to 0, del cross E is equal to minus mu times dou H bar by dou T. Fourth Maxwell's equation is del cross H bar is equal to epsilon times dou E by dou T. Now observe the symmetry in the four equations. In each case, the first two equations, right side of these equations are 0 in all the cases. If there is a monopole exists, then we could have bring symmetry in the original equations, that is in the column represented in pink color. Thank you. Wait for the next session.